Moving forward, we have a question from 2015. The question reads as, which of the following national parks is unique in being a swamp with a floating vegetation that supports a rich biodiversity? So, the key word over here is not swamp, because if you look at all four of them have swamp nature. You have some amount of wetlands, you have Keibul Lamjao, Bitarkanik, all of them have a little bit of swamp. The key word over here is swamp with floating vegetation. So, out of these, when you look at all of this, floating vegetation means some kind of a plant growth which is floating. And this is where you do understand the Keibul Lamjao National Park has floating vegetations which are named as fumdis. Fumdis primarily are these very isolated island-like vegetation that is there on the water body. What happens is, it's on these fumdis, based on the vegetation over there, that you have one of the most important species in this area called as your Sangai deer. Sangai deer, otherwise called as dancing deer, all of these are the same thing. So, which of the national parks is unique in being a swamp? If they had just asked, most of them would be falling into the list, but it's swamp with floating vegetation that supports a rich biodiversity. The answer to the question is B, Keibul Lamjao. The next question we have to discuss is a 2015 question from your protected areas. In the question, it primarily reads as, which one of the following national parks has a climate that varies from tropical to subtropical, temperate and Arctic? So, you're looking at Kanchenjunga, Nanda Devi, Neora Valley and Namdapha. 4 options given to you. Let's try to place these options. Namdapha is in Arunachal Pradesh. Neora Valley is in West Bengal, Nanda Devi is in Uttarakhand and Kanchenjunga is in Sikkim. Okay. Now, let's look at all the areas that they are telling. They are saying there's a tropical, there's a subtropical, there's a temperate and there is an Arctic region. So, when you look at all 4, it should have a full-fledged combination of all of these areas. For example, I'll just give you this. When you look at Nanda Devi and Kanchenjunga, let's take both of these options. When it comes to Nanda Devi and Kanchenjunga, it has temperate, it has a little bit of Arctic, but it even subtropical to a small extent, but it does not have any tropical area. So, what happens if you have 4 things? 3 out of 4 are applicable for Kanchenjunga and Nanda Devi, but not all 4. So, this is gone, this is gone. When it comes to Neora Valley and Namdapha, what happens to Neora Valley is West Bengal. So, you do know that you have areas of tropical, subtropical. But when it comes to temperate and Arctic, not much of those. So, that you have just 2 out of 4. When it comes to Namdapha, because it's Arunachal, and Arunachal, if you look at the states movements, you will see that this is one area where you can see where in some parts of Arunachal, when you are there, you can have the effect of your Arctic and temperate. Then as you come down a little bit to the south, you have tropical and subtropical. So, in all the 4 things that they have mentioned over here, Namdapha is the only national park that can have all the 4 climates, largely due to the geography of it. It's not something else, it's just the geographical placement of Namdapha is such that it can experience all the 4 climatic conditions. Moving forward, we have a question from 2014. The question reads as, consider the following pairs: Dampa Tiger Reserve, which they have said it's in Mizoram, Gumti, which they have mentioned it's in Sikkim, and then you have Saramati Peak, which is there in Nagaland. Now, out of these itself and generally itself, keep this point in mind. Dampa is one area that UPSC considers important because you've had several questions where Dampa has featured in the options. Dampa is located in Mizoram. The first is correct. First is correct doesn't help us much because that is there in most of the options. Gumti Wildlife Sanctuary. Gumti Wildlife Sanctuary, again, sometimes you will have to use the etymology also a little bit. The Gumti Wildlife Sanctuary primarily occurs in Tripura. And it is not in Assam. Second option is gone. The Saramati peak again is in Nagaland. So this is a very factual kind of a thing. You have 1 and 3 as your answer. Further on, we have a 2014 question. The 2014 question is primarily to do with your certain wetlands and the rivers of, the confluence of rivers. So the wetlands in point are, let's read it. You have Harike, Keibul Ghana and Kolleru. Okay. And now the options are, Harike, they've said it's at the confluence of Bias and Satluj. Keibul, they're saying at confluence of Banas and Chambal. And Kolleru is confluence of Musi and Krishna. Okay. So the placement of rivers is almost correct. The ones in the northwest, the ones in the west, and the ones in the, south and southwest part, that's all correct. So now we have to actually know what is the point over here. And this is where you understand. All of them are formed with some kind of confluence. Okay. Kolleru is formed with the confluence of Krishna and Godavari and not Krishna and Musi. Musi is actually just a tributary river. So Kolleru you can eliminate. When you eliminate Kolleru, you just have to know that and you will get the answer, which is 1 only. Okay. Harike wetlands occur at the confluence of Bias and Satluj. The answer to your question over here is, 2014 question is A. Now, when it comes to Keibul, just a point to be added over there is, Keibul is actually a man-made wetland. So, it's not between any river bodies, it's a man-made wetland. Okay, so the answer to the question is A. Next, we have a question from 2013. The question reads as, consider the following pairs: Nokrek Biosphere Reserve, and they've given Garo Hills, Loktak Lake, Bareil Range, and then they've given Namdapha National Park, Dafla Hills. So the idea is, on one hand, they've given the national park, and on the other hand, they've given the hill ranges where they occur in. So when it comes to this particular question, you have to understand, so Nokrek Biosphere Reserve, it is located in your Garo Hills. Loktak Lake, the lake area, it is actually in Manipur. And Bareil Range, which they have mentioned over there, is actually in Assam. So no, they're not related. You can eliminate 2. And the last statement also you can eliminate at this point. Why? Because it says which of the above pairs is or are correctly matched. I just told you Nokrek is related to Garo. So yes, that is correctly matched. The third also you can eliminate. You already get the answer, but just for your understanding, Namdapha and Dafla both occur in Arunachal itself, but they're two separate. It's not related to these areas. So yes, the answer to your question is 1 only. Moving on to a 2013 question. The 2013 question primarily puts certain national parks and certain rivers associated with it. National parks being Corbett, Kaziranga and Silent Valley. Rivers being Corbett associated with Ganga, Kaziranga with Manas and Silent Valley with Kaveri. Now, they've nicely played into your mind over here, thinking that, yeah, maybe why not? These could be. But it is not. So, let's have a look. Corbett National Park does not have Ganga passing through it. Okay. Corbett, in sense, has another river called as Ram Ganga passing, but that is not anything to do with your Ganga. So, first is gone. Second is something that students always get confused. Remember this, guys. Kaziranga National Park is bounded from its different areas by different tributaries of Brahmaputra. Okay. Manas National Park has Manas flowing through it. These are two different localities. These are two different locations. Kaziranga does not have Manas passing through it. Manas National Park has Manas passing through it. Kaziranga, on the other hand, has tributaries of Brahmaputra, not even Brahmaputra, just tributaries of Brahmaputra passing through it. And one more important point is Kaziranga has, through the national park, you have tributaries of Brahmaputra. Bounded around the national park, you have the Brahmaputra also. This is what leads to the flooding of Kaziranga. So your second statement option is wrong over here. There's no Manas. And Silent Valley National Park. Silent Valley National Park is in Kerala. I want you to remember, in Kerala, you do not have the Kaveri river flowing through. You have tributaries of Kaveri, but not the Kaveri river flowing through it. Okay, so keep this in mind. A lot of students think Kaveri is in the south, so maybe Kerala is included, but no. Get this in your head correctly. Kaveri has several tributaries like Kunti, etc. Kunti actually flows through Silent Valley. But Kaveri river, as it is, does not have any flow area in Kerala. Okay, so that can be one thing that you can fix in your mind. So the answer to this question is none of them are correctly matched. The answer to this question is D.